Good evening, Chris Gibson here from chrisgibsongolf.com. Following on from previous videos, let's talk about getting you started. And this doesn't really necessarily only go for people that are starting. This can be for everybody if we're resetting or recalibrating, resetting our game again. So I've got a 9-iron in my hand. We're going to talk about just hitting the golf ball, getting solid contact to begin with. What does that entail? We talked about the grip previously, left hand, thumb just right of center, right hand sitting on top, lifeline sitting on that lead hand. And we talked briefly about getting to a solid posture, nice and balanced so I can move, I can be athletic, so to speak. That word gets bandied around a lot. So let's talk about now what we're going to do to actually hit the golf ball. First and foremost, don't be afraid to pop the ball on a tee, in particular if you're learning a new motor skill, i.e. you've just worked with your coach, you're going to learn a new motor skill, you've got to do something different in your golf swing. So what we would like to see you do is not have to worry about hitting the ground to begin with, even though you desperately need to hit the ground with an iron in your hand and a fairway medal. The only one that you don't want to hit the ground is when it's on a tee or a putter. That's probably not going to be great for you. So I'm going to start off with placing the ball just forward of center through here. And from there, I want to make a small rotation and then a small rotation. It's going to feel more like your rib cage rotates away. There's not going to be a great deal of movement with your hands and arms to start with. So this can vary, I might add too. So if I stand here and I have an athlete that drags it this way too much, so in other words, drags the club back that way, I might get them to start with the head first, the golf club first, and doing that. But for all intents and purposes right now, once we get set up, just the rib cage rotating away. Once we've got that, you'll notice there's a little bit of rotation. My right knee unlocks. There's an athletic dynamic move left to right here without being a huge lateral movement. It may perceive to be moving lateral, but it's your head, generally speaking, doing this and this. So if we can get that small movement going away, that's going to give us some really good dynamic motion to allow you to really use the ground, essentially. So really be able to push off the ground and feel as though you've got grip on the ground so we're nice and stable. So what you'll see with really, really good players is they will dynamically move from left to right in their pressure in their feet, but they won't move too much with their head. There might be a little bit of movement here and there, unless they're really trying to rip it in next week. Kyle Berkshire just won the long drive championship, and you'll see him stomp his feet, get his feet moving, and then let go. It's quite an interesting move, and I mean, it's a great golf swing. A lot of the long drive guys and girls, generally speaking, sometimes they don't have a great golf swing per se when you look at tour players, but Kyle certainly has a wonderful golf swing and that wonderful dynamic motion left to right like that. We don't want too much movement if we're trying to get a little bit more accurate. So once we've got that dynamic movement, we can feel the rib cage turning away. It's basically a short golf swing just to get that feeling of dynamic movement. I can guarantee you that if you gave somebody that hasn't played this game before, you gave them a golf ball and you rotated them, you put it in their trail hand, you rotated them, and you asked them to throw it in the air, they generally speaking would do that and try to lift it in the air. And I encourage you to do that if you haven't played the game before or you've got friends that haven't played the game before. Grab a golf ball, put it in their trail hand, get them to turn a little bit this way, and then asking them from here to throw it in the air. Just about every one of them will do this. Now with a golf club, we have a shaft and we have loft on the golf club to make it do that for us. However, this decision maker wants to take over almost every time. So if we can get you feeling that dynamic motion, left foot into right, or lead foot into trail foot, get some movement going there, and we can get you rotating a little bit more effectively, well then you'll start to make a solid contact with the ground and strike the ground in the same place. So let's try that. So we've got our grip, we've got the ball just forward of center. I'm going to make a rib cage turn away from the golf ball and then turn that through. Nice and solid contact. We're going to strike the ground in the same place each time, and that's all I need. Once again, don't be afraid to put it on a little tee to start with, to be able to not worry about hitting the ground. In particular, when we go to a golf course and when we've got beautifully manicured grass and we don't really want to hit it. We will try to miss it almost every time. So in order to make the golf ball go in the air, we just want to try and brush the grass, get that sound, and then from there we want that dynamic motion. And we can build it up. Once you start to feel comfortable with that, we build it up and build it up and build it up into a full swing. So we've got our grip, we've got our posture, we've got the ball position with this particular 9-iron, and we're going to dynamically move very small swings, not trying to hit it into next week, which is what most of us do. Let's face it, we're trying to hit it as far as we possibly can at the end of the day. So if I can give you that just to strike the ground at the same place each time, build that up. Don't go out and try to hit drivers straight away, because that will be more than likely fairly unsuccessful. If I can get you to build that dynamic motion and get you to rotate that little bit better, things are going to start to come out the way we'd like to, and we'll accelerate that learning process. Once again, Chris Gibson from chrisgibsongolf.com. If you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, please click that button. Please click the like button for me, and I look forward, also make some comments too in down below, and I look forward to talking to you soon. Take care.